Hey there, it's Margaret from thisLadyRides.com, and today I'm going to show you how to adjust your clutch. When your clutch lever is adjusted correctly, you'll find your friction zone right here in the middle. You'll know that it needs adjusting if you have to pull the clutch lever in all the way to get it to reach that friction zone, or if you find as soon as you start pulling it in, you're in the friction zone. Both ways, you'll know that it needs adjusted. To find the clutch cable adjuster, we're going to follow the cable down. It goes all the way down. You'll find this rubber boot, and the adjuster is located underneath it. First thing we've got to do is get this clip out of the way. What I'm going to do is just take a flathead screwdriver, carefully slide it in, and then turn it, and that opens it up. Okay, the first thing we need to do is open up this clip so that we can remove the cable. We're going to carefully slide the screwdriver in. We want to make sure we don't damage the boot, and then just turn it. You'll hear that snap, and it's now open. Okay, now that we've got that clip open, we want to carefully open it just a little bit. This is not a hinged clip, so we want to be careful not to pull it back too far, just enough that we can wiggle this cable free. Now we're going to take this boot, we're just going to slide it down till we expose the clutch adjuster. It just takes a little bit of working. There we go. Alright, we've got to loosen the jam nut, and I've got a 1/2 inch down here on the bottom and a 9/16 up here on top. I'm going to turn counterclockwise, and it does not take much to get it. Just like that, and it's already loose. You can see it's able to turn with my fingers now. Now we want to go ahead and roll that nut all the way up. That's going to give us room to begin making our adjustment. Okay, if we turn the adjuster and move it towards the jam nut, which is up here, that is going to make our friction zone closer to the handlebar. I'm going to go ahead and just roll it all the way up to that jam nut. You'll notice with it all screwed up all the way to the jam nut, my friction zone is all the way back against that grip. That gives me no room for play at all. And I'm going to go ahead and roll it down as far as it'll go. That's going to make that very tight, where engagement is going to happen pretty much as soon as I start pulling in that clutch lever. Okay, and as you can see, it's getting a lot harder to turn, and that's because as we screw this away from that jam nut, if you look up here now, I can almost barely pull that lever in because it's tightening down. At this point, you can see my friction zone is right there, which is way too tight. So we need to get somewhere between the two areas that I've shown you. We want to get it to where our friction zone is in the middle when we squeeze in that clutch lever. So I'm just going to go ahead and start rolling this up towards that jam nut. Now we want to get our friction zone to be somewhere between the 2 points that I've shown you. So I'm going to go ahead and start rolling this up towards the jam nut. And as I roll it up, it does get a little bit easier. Then we're going to go up, check the clutch lever, and see where it's at. I've got that adjuster rolled all the way back up against the jam nut, and as you can see here, the amount of play is about 1/4 inch, and we only want it to be a 1/16. The play is the amount of room you have here, the little action and give that it has before the cable is actually engaged any. And that looks pretty good. If you look down here, you'll see that the amount of play is only about a 1/16 inch. Okay, once you've got it adjusted to where you need it to be, we're going to roll that jam nut down, and you want to be careful that you don't roll this any, because you've already got it adjusted to where you want. I'm going to put the 1/2 inch on down here. And we're just going to tighten it down. Now we've got to get our boot back up over the adjustment. I'm going to spray just a tiny bit of lubricant down in there to make it easier. Now we're going to take that boot and just move it up onto it, and you're just going to keep going up. And then back down. You want to work it to where that little lip area comes back out. Then go back and you can wipe off any extra lubricant that you have on it. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and remember, this is not hinged. We're going to put it back in the clip carefully and then snap the clip back in place. I hope you found that video useful. That is just a basic video on how to adjust your clutch to get your friction zone where it needs to be. If you find while doing this adjustment that you're not able to get the friction zone where it needs to be, you may need to do a more in-depth adjustment, and that's going to take place down here in your primary. So again, this video is just covering how to adjust your clutch lever to get that friction zone where it needs to be.